Welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, and welcome back to the regular season. Guys, college football is finally here. It's finally back. And with it, we are bringing back our weekly predictions. You know, these videos that typically highlight the biggest games of every single week. But obviously this week, guys, there aren't too many games on the schedule. We're entering week 0. College football's still back. It's just not the marquee weekend that we're going to have like next week. But one of the biggest games of week 0 actually doesn't even take place in the United States. It takes place in Dublin, Ireland, as Nebraska and Northwestern will be facing off in a Big Ten showdown, again, all the way in Ireland. By far, probably the biggest, maybe not the best, but the biggest game of week 0. And we are here to tell you everything you need to know about this game and, of course, share who we have winning this Big Ten showdown on Saturday morning. Before we get started, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and check out everything down in the description below, including our expert picks over on our website, thegridironexpert.com. Make sure to go sign up for those today, guys. Some of the best college football and NFL spread picks in the entire country. You do not want to miss out on that, and you do not want to miss out on our Discord server, an opportunity to talk college football with me and hundreds of other fans across the country year-round. So it's basically like a 24/7 live stream. Hop in on that Discord server. Again, the link for that down in the description below. Make sure to check all of it out and become a part of our growing GE Nation. So let's take a look, guys. Nebraska and Northwestern, both teams went 3-9 last year, but there's a drastic difference between the two. The difference is Nebraska, they're arguably the best 3-9 team ever, right? Cornhuskers go 3-9, but 8 of their 9 losses were by 1 possession, and all 9 of their losses were by single digits. The only one that wasn't by 1 possession was by 9 points to Ohio State. So 8 of the 9 losses by 1 possession. They were also a Nebraska team that had a top 20 offense and a top 50 defense. Northwestern, on the other hand, only had 2 one-possession losses, had an offense that was ranked 116th in the nation, and a defense that was ranked 101st in the nation. They were just abysmal just 1 year after winning the Big Ten West. So 2 teams that had the exact same record but were drastically different in terms of their overall performance. So how much has changed in the span of a year? We take a look at the offense, guys, and we'll start with Nebraska. They have seen many changes in the last year. The biggest one is they have a new offensive coordinator. Mark Whipple has come over to Nebraska, left Pittsburgh, where last year he helped Pittsburgh win an ACC championship alongside Kenny Pickett, who was a first-round draft pick to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Mark Whipple is now the offensive coordinator at Nebraska, and they have added a transfer quarterback in Thompson coming in from Texas, where last year he started 10 games for the Longhorns, threw for over 2,100 yards and 24 touchdowns. He also has a dangerous dual threat capability as well, which is perfect for Nebraska's offense because Nebraska is pretty dang good at running the football. That was definitely a strength for them in 2021. They've got Ramir Johnson back at running back. They've got Anthony Grant, who kind of burst onto the scene during the spring game, kind of showing some flashes of brilliance. So you've got 2 or 3 great running backs in Nebraska's backfield, a unit that averaged 181.2 rushing yards per game last year. You factor that in with a quarterback that, last year they had Adrian Martinez, who also could run the ball. So you factor that in with another quarterback who has the ability to use that RPO-style offense, pull the ball away, and take off himself. Nebraska's offense is going to be tough to stop. The talent is there, and Thompson, despite what some may think, is the perfect fit for Nebraska and has the opportunity, paired with Whipple, to really take off for this Nebraska offense and improve this offense drastically. And they don't need that much. Again, they were a top 20 unit in 2021. The same cannot be said for Northwestern, right? They were terrible on offense last year. Averaged just 16.6 points per game, averaged just 321.6 total yards per game. They're ranked 116th in the nation, like we just mentioned. The Wildcats, guys, they have some major questions at quarterback, but more than likely it is once again going to be Ryan Helinski under center. But he's wildly inconsistent, and most Wildcat fans, if you ask them, aren't going to be thrilled with him back again as quarterback. There's a chance, though, you might be able to see a little bit of Brendan Sullivan in Ireland, or maybe later on this year for Northwestern. He certainly is fighting for that job, and while Helinski should be the starter on Saturday, Sullivan could see some time, or at least could take over midway through the year. The beauty for Northwestern is they don't have to rely so much on the pass, right? Very similar to Nebraska. Northwestern wants to run the ball. Cam Porter returns at running back, bouncing back from an injury. Evan Hull rushed for over 1,000 yards last year. This is a running game for Northwestern that isn't great because their offensive line isn't great, but they've got two very capable backs just like Nebraska. So two teams that want to run the football, are good at running the football. It's just a matter of can each of these offensive lines hold up, because Nebraska's was horrible last year, Northwestern's was horrible last year, and Nebraska's right now is dealing with issues. Scott Frost coming out and saying, yeah, our guys are puking left and right. I don't think it's because they're out of shape. I just think it's because they're getting worked so hard. You take with that as you will and do with that as you will, but that's not great to hear when you're a few days out from kickoff and your offensive line struggling that bad. But if I had to pick, Nebraska would own that offensive line edge. When you take a look at the defense, guys, Nebraska's front seven significantly better than that of Northwestern. Nebraska's front seven is solid. Ochon Mathis comes in from TCU, one of the better edge rushers in the Big 12 last year, now coming over to Nebraska. It's a huge, huge boost for this Cornhuskers defense. The linebacking core is loaded. You've got guys like Garrett Nelson and Caleb Tanner leading that that front seven in that linebacking core. And when you look at Nebraska as a whole, guys, if you had to pick out one weakness for their defense, you'd say it's probably their secondary. The beauty of that is they're not going to have to face in week 1 or week 0, they're not going to have to face an elite passing attack. Northwestern's not going to kill anybody through the air. Ryan Helinski doesn't really strike fear into his opponents, right? So Nebraska's secondary, while it's the weak point on defense, it's going to be okay because they're not going to be facing a very scary passing attack. They're facing a decent running attack, and that's where the front seven is going to come into play and should be able to not only create pressure on Helinski through that Northwestern offensive line, but should be able to bottle up that Northwestern run game when it's all said and done. When you look at the Wildcats, again, defensively, guys, it's just a tale of a couple years, right? 2020, they had one of the stingiest defenses, not just in the Big Ten, but in the country. And in 2021, under Jim O'Neill, allowed 213 rushing yards per game and allowed nearly 430 total yards per game, which ranked 101st in the country. So it went from one of the best to one of the worst. And, despite losing Brandon Joseph at safety, despite losing him off to Notre Dame, Northwestern secondary is still pretty solid. That's one good thing that Pat Fitzgerald and the Wildcats do have coming back. A pretty much intact secondary that could cause some issues for Casey Thompson with his first start with the Cornhuskers. But the problem is, outside of the secondary, the front seven has some questions. They do have Adetomiwa Adebawara. He's back there on the defensive end, so that's a big boost for that Northwestern defensive line. Should be able to help them out a little bit. But outside of him, the front seven, major questions. And one that I would not be very confident in stopping the run game. Not very confident in stopping the run game. Again, a unit that allowed over 213 rushing yards per game, facing off against a Nebraska offense that was averaging over 180 rushing yards per game last year and has the chance to be even better than that this year. So you take a look at this game, guys. It's going to be fun. It's one of the first college football games of the year. All eyes are going to be on Ireland. It's a conference matchup. So this is a big opportunity for both these programs that are struggling. 3-9 last year. Scott Frost needs a big win. Needs to start off 1-0. Needs to get to a bowl game. Then you got to start off 1-0. Northwestern looking to bounce back from such a disappointing 2021. What's going to happen in Ireland? Nebraska's going to win. And in my mind, there's no doubt about it. Look, the Cornhuskers beat Northwestern last year 56-7. Beat them by 49 points. Do I think that happens again on Saturday? No. I don't think they win by 49 points. Shouldn't be that big of a blowout. But Nebraska should win comfortably. I'm looking at it by at least 2 touchdowns here. I would be shocked if the game was closer than 2 touchdowns. I'd be shocked if this game was close entering the fourth quarter, because Nebraska from top to bottom right now to me is better. They're better at quarterback. They're better at running back. They're better in the trenches. So across the board, Nebraska should own the edge in almost every single aspect of this game. Factor in the urgency for Nebraska. Last year, many thought they'd take down Illinois in the season opener. They failed, and it spelled a bad year for the Cornhuskers. This year, I don't think Scott Frost is going to let that happen. So Nebraska's strong run game exploits Northwestern's poor run defense. Northwestern's inability to go vertical and to throw the ball will hurt them because they're going to try to rely too much on the run. Nebraska will bottle that up, and the Cornhuskers, guys, will start 1-0, a more promising start than they had in 2021. The million-dollar question is, will this Week 0 victory begin a stretch for Nebraska that could lead them to the postseason by the end of the year? So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and of course, check out everything down in the description below, including our expert picks over on our website, thegridironexpert.com, and of course, our Discord server. Make sure to follow all those links for everything down in the description below to become a part of our GE Nation. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.